All right. Well, we are being joined by a journalist from Newsroom Africa, Athi Mtongana from Cape Town in South Africa. She covered the protest in Cape Town, where Nigerians marched to the parliament asking for international intervention into what's been going on here in Nigeria. Athi, it's good to have you join us.
Thank you so much, MaryAnn. Pleasure.
Great. From what you saw and the process, I'm sure that you have background into the reasons why Nigerians decided to flood the streets of Nigeria, talking about Lagos, Abuja, and other states. Obviously started from the cases of police brutality and violence, but now it has spiraled into other things. Nigerians are asking for good governance and a plethora of other issues. But tell me what really happened in Cape Town and what you got, the feel you got from Nigerians who were protesting.
Oh my God, it was an event where a lot of Nigerians who are based in South Africa and particularly in Cape Town decided to say, listen, we're not going to just sit on the sidelines. We're not just going to watch what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Nigeria through social media platforms, through the news. We want ourselves to be part of this movement because, as you may know, it has obviously reached many, many parts of the world. It's not just Nigerians that are realizing what is happening to a lot of Nigerians in Nigeria, but it's people from all over the world. So they decided to take a stand and take to the streets and say, we are also going to raise awareness where we are because they feel the pain. And obviously, many of them were telling me that they actually speak to some of their family members who are based in Nigeria and obviously just talking about their experiences.
Interesting. When they got to the parliament, because, a lot of Nigerians from other parts of the world, I'm talking about the UK, Ontario and Canada and the US have gone to different parliaments and embassies in those countries asking questions. And some of them got a response of sorts, some didn't. What happened in South Africa? Did anybody come out in Cape Town to speak to the protesters?
So at this point, what they wanted to do, this was their first leg of their march and their campaign of raising awareness in Cape Town. So what they did was just to march on Parliament and to say, this is us taking the first step as Nigerians that are based in Cape Town to say, this is what we are up to. But they will return again with a memorandum. And that memorandum, of course, will enlist some of the issues that are currently taking place, which you rightfully mentioned, police brutality in Nigeria. And they will be asking, of course, for international intervention in as far as what the South African government can do and what South African Parliament can do to assist. And it's always interesting to hear what they were saying. Some of them coming out to say that, look at how the police in South Africa are handling us. It is almost like they are protecting us and doing their job as, the men and women in blue. Whereas if we are in Nigeria, as Nigerians, our very own police don't give us this kind of treatment. And this was as they were marching to Parliament, being escorted by the South African police.
I wish that I could speak to a protester to ask this question, but let me ask you, one of the biggest turnaround, I would say, as a Nigerian woman, is that more women were seen protesting across the world. As part of this Nigerian protest, we saw more and more women taking the front lines, pushing for this, because women have also fallen victim, and not just as police brutality, but they have been raped by these police officers. Some of them have been battered. And of course, I know that in South Africa, there's a femicide that women are protesting against. Could you marry any such during that protest?
What was interesting for me was the fact that the protest was dominated by men. There were little to few women who were actually out there. And when you spotted a woman, you felt like, okay, great. So we are seeing women taking to the street as well, because just hearing from from some of the experiences of women in particular who are from Nigeria, who are Nigerian nationals based in South Africa. They obviously relay messages of how they are being raped in Nigeria. And so it was interesting to actually note that that protest was dominated by men. And so they were obviously speaking about their experiences. And one gentleman told me that he was a victim of SARS, and he was saying how one time he was walking out of a bank and they stopped him. They asked him about his laptop that he was carrying, and he was saying how those police don't understand the digital era in which we're living in. And so they took out his laptop and still went further as to extort him after asking what he does for a living. So things that we've been hearing from people in Nigeria are the same stories that have been relayed by some of the people who were in Nigeria and also experienced the police brutality that side.
Interesting. I'd like to know, as a journalist reporting in South Africa and as a human being, when you heard that soldiers opened fire on unarmed protesters, how did this make you feel? And again, knowing that Nigeria is more like, I've heard people say that, for a revolution to happen in Africa, it has to start with Nigeria. What kind of reaction were you expecting from the leadership of the country after this? You saw pictures and videos of the shootings.
First of all, I was expecting all African leaders to speak up. We are obviously sitting on the sidelines watching what's unfolding on the other side. And obviously the next reaction is, what is the state saying? What are the African leaders saying? What is the African Union saying? And they've been mum. So it's been interesting to note that as well. And it will obviously go down in history books where most of these African leaders have said nothing about what's happening to young people in Nigeria. And that's part of the problem. That's part of why a lot of people are angry. And it was the tipping point. I don't think none of us slept when we saw those images and those videos on social media. We were so alarmed. We're like, okay, this is literally the tipping point. And that's the message that has been reiterated by a lot of Nigerians, saying that particular shooting was, of course, the tipping point, and that's basically what got a lot of people's attention to say this is a human rights issue, and so none of us obviously were pleased about what took place.
Just something worthy of note: the first African leader to speak, if not the only so far, is Nana Akufo-Addo, the president of Ghana, former president of Liberia. Sirleaf also put out a message on social media. It also would interest you to know that the Nigerian president is yet to say anything about it, by the way. And, well, for the world who's watching, Hillary Clinton said word about Joe Biden, presidential candidate, has also lent his, voice to this cause. But it would also interest you to know that the first people who spoke on this issue were foreign governments and foreign embassies. What does this say about Africans and the leadership that we have today and the future, and what the future holds for us as citizens?
I think it's very worrying. And the president of Nigeria himself to still be mum and not say anything about what's happening to his own people, that in itself gives you a picture. It paints a picture of what the African leaders in Africa, view the issues in Africa. So it's definitely something that a lot of people are not happy about. You cannot lead a continent where the first people to react on something so horrific as a shooting of this nature are people from across Africa. So it's very worrying to see and to observe how, they've literally taken a backseat in as far as being quick to respond. It worries us because then it means, do they really take their own people seriously? Is this the kind of path that they want Africa as a continent to be known by and to continue with? It's very, very worrying, to say the least.
Well, thank you very much, Athi, for speaking with us. Hopefully you keep us posted on how these protests continue to unfold in Cape Town. Athi is from Newsroom Africa, and she decided to speak with us from Cape Town. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, MaryAnn. Thank you so much.